The Haunting of Elmwood House. Hey everyone, I never imagined I'd be telling a story like this. I've always been the skeptic, the one who rolled his eyes at ghost stories and laughed off the idea of hauntings. But after what happened to me last winter, I can't deny that some things defy all rational explanation. I'm writing this now, sitting in my new apartment, far away from Elmwood House, hoping that sharing my experience will help me make sense of it. My name's Jake. I'm 32, an architect by trade, and I've always prided myself on my logical, analytical mind. Growing up, I was the kid who needed to understand how everything worked. My friends and I would explore old abandoned buildings, and I was always the one debunking any creepy noises or shadows. But this time, things were different. I moved into Elmwood House last November. It was an old, grand mansion on the outskirts of town, a place I thought would be perfect for some peace and quiet. The house had been vacant for years, and the rent was surprisingly low. The real estate agent mentioned something about the house having a reputation, but I brushed it off. A good deal was a good deal. The first month was uneventful. I spent my time renovating and fixing up the place. It was a beautiful house, with soaring ceilings, expansive windows, and intricate woodwork. But then, strange things started happening. It began with small, easily dismissible occurrences. Items would vanish and then reappear in odd places. Doors would creak open and slam shut on their own. Typical old house quirks, I told myself. One evening, while I was working late in the library, I heard a faint humming. It was a soft, haunting melody that seemed to come from nowhere. I searched for the source but found nothing. The humming became a nightly visitor, always when I was alone, always with an eerie persistence. While cleaning out the attic, I stumbled upon an old journal tucked away in a dusty box. It belonged to a man named Thomas, who had lived in the house in the early 1900s. His entries started out normally, but soon became increasingly erratic. He wrote about the humming, about feeling perpetually watched, and about a woman in white who would appear in the mirrors. Thomas's journal unsettled me deeply, but I clung to my skepticism until the night I saw her. I was brushing my teeth, and when I glanced up at the bathroom mirror, she was there, an ethereal woman in a white dress standing right behind me. I spun around, heart racing, but there was no one there. It happened again and again, always in the mirrors, always just out of reach. I began researching the history of Elmwood House. It turned out that Thomas wasn't the only one who had reported seeing the woman in white. Stories dating back to the 1800s described similar experiences. The humming, the woman in the mirrors, the overwhelming sensation of being watched. I discovered that the house had once belonged to a woman named Eliza who had mysteriously vanished without a trace. Desperate for answers, I contacted a local medium. I wasn't sure what to believe anymore, but I needed to understand. The medium, an elderly woman named Agnes, agreed to visit. We conducted a séance in the library. Agnes fell into a trance and began speaking in a voice that wasn't her own. She revealed that Eliza's spirit was trapped in the house, searching for something or someone. After the séance, the hauntings intensified. The humming grew louder, the apparitions more frequent. I could barely sleep, barely think. One night, I awoke to find Eliza standing at the foot of my bed. This time, she didn't vanish. She reached out a hand, her eyes brimming with sorrow. I was paralyzed, unable to move or breathe. She leaned in and whispered, "Help me." I don't remember much after that. I must have blacked out. When I came to, it was morning, and I was lying on the library floor. I grabbed a few belongings and fled the house, leaving everything else behind. I couldn't bear to stay another moment. It's been 6 months since I left Elmwood House, and I'm still haunted by what happened. I've been staying with friends, moving from place to place, but the nightmares persist. I still see her sometimes, in my dreams, standing at the foot of my bed, whispering, "Help me." I don't know what she wants, but I fear I'll never be free of her. I'm writing this in the hope that someone might know what to do. Maybe someone has experienced something similar and can offer advice. All I know is that Elmwood House changed me, and I can't go back to who I was before. If you've read this far, thank you. And if you're ever looking for a new home, stay far away from Elmwood House.